Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show Beyond Belief. I'm Sabine, your host, and today I have a special guest with me, Melanie. Welcome.
Hello.
Melanie is, and stay sitting, Melanie is a dying and grieving counselor, which I've never seen here. That's the first time, and I'm very excited because of that. It's a very specific mission that she has, I can tell you. Let's continue. She is a dying and grieving counselor. In other words, a death doula. She helps people with grief, whether it's from losing a loved one or a pet, going through a divorce, illness, or losing a job. She clarifies that she is not a doctor, but rather provides support to help people deal with their emotions. She stresses the importance of dealing with grief to avoid negative effects on mental and physical health, like depression or personality changes. So it's vital to address and process these feelings for healing and well being. And before we dive into today's discussion, I would like to announce my upcoming spiritual retreat in Bali from June 16 to 22. Seats are limited, don't miss it. And for more info, send me a message or visit my website. I will also add detail under the video here into the description. Also on April 20 to 28, I facilitate a workshop on animal communication. You can still register. And I have another accelerated channeling class that is ongoing for 12 weeks. A replay will be available. You can still register. And for the second consecutive year, I facilitate a light language attunement class for 3 full weeks. Check out the detail on my website. And last but not least is the Awakened Badass Solopreneur. This is a 3 months intensive course. The title speaks for itself. And of course, you will have access to the replay also for this class. Now, let's embark on another episode of Beyond Belief. And today's subject is, of course, dying and grieving counseling. Melanie, please, can you explain to our audience what brought you into this journey? How did it start exactly?
Well, it started with a friend of mine who passed away. He was 48 years old and he suddenly, crashed down and passed away. And his family was in shock, having a child as well, a little child. And I found out when I was there and saw them, the family and the friends and all that, how grief is, let's say, not destroying people, but what can happen when you are not taking care of the death, or you are not taking a look into it, and what grief can happen, and what grief can happen with you or can do with you. And that is how I then thought about I need to do something, especially for people who are in grief, because they're left alone. Very simple. People are very deep in grief are left alone.
Which is true for many, many cases. And I think, honestly, that's a subject that we don't speak enough.
Yeah.
Often, even I've noticed, because I would say everyone is dead in my family. I can speak like this today, but I had to grieve a lot. My grandmother on my father's side, grandfather, same, they are dead. My father died during COVID, not from COVID. My mom died. I had to take care of my sister and brothers who were orphaned at that time because they were from another father who died 4 years before my mother. My grandmother and my grandfather died from a cancer on my mother's side, and I think only my auntie, maybe, and my daughter are still there, and many died. But I remember that's a very touchy subject. People stay away from you like you have the pest somehow. That's what I felt many times. Or they feel sorry for you in a way like, oh my God, this is a nightmare, blah, blah, blah. But then they run away. They run away because they don't know how to deal even with your own grief. And I would like that you open the subject on that, because I think this is not a sickness. Okay, that's a difficult moment. This is clear. But even for you who are watching us now, let's say your friend is encountering a deep grief. Don't run away. I know it's difficult, but I think if you could explain also to people who are not in grief but have family members or friends who is in grief, how is the best approach to help?
Well, the best is not to step away, just to make the step in front of them or to them and saying, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. And you will see they will react. Of course, they will cry. I mean, we are afraid. I think sometimes that people start crying, and of course they cry. We cry with them, but make it. It is uncomfortable for both of you, of course. I mean, when somebody's passing away and you tell that to the person, they are not happy, of course, and you also. But you can say that. You can say, "I'm not comfortable with that, but I would like to be with you. I would like to be next to you, to be support you, whatever you are needing. But I don't know what to say." I think that is the best we can do for them. And we cry, but then you say a joke about something, and then you start laughing. I mean, it's emotions we are going through back and forth. I mean, it's like wave anyway, and maybe we come to that later. But having a funeral, and people are afraid, especially in our Christianity culture, to laugh at a funeral. And I think that's wrong, because I think the person who passed away was also laughing during their lifetime, right? So I'm pretty sure you can laugh at their funeral as well. And I think they will appreciate that. So
Also, laughing is a form of release. As a therapist, I can say that. And people sometimes are laughing because they are feeling really uncomfortable, not because they really laugh. Then they have nothing wrong with that. Melanie, can you explain to the audience what is exactly a doula? Because you gave me that word, and even me, I was like, a doula?
Yeah.
I heard that before, but can you go much deeper? Because what you do is very specific and it's very special. I don't think they have a lot in the world. They have for sure. But please, can you first explain what is a doula, a death doula in your case?
Yeah, it's in German. It's the word Sterbeamme. So it's a bit difficult for me to translate it in the right English word, just death doula or counseling. That's the case. So what we are doing actually, when a child is born, you are there and help the mom for like a midwife to help the mom and the child to come on earth, And what we are doing is, at the end of the life, to support the person who's passing away, to support that person or the soul to go over the rainbow bridge. And that can happen with, there are so many things you can do. I mean, passing away or the dying process starts very, very early. So it takes some time till you're really passing over. And a lot of people don't know that. So you can help with singing, or I don't know, with smell or something, And this is not only about it. We also support the grieving, the family when the person passed away. Then the family is left over, kind of, And then there is they miss the person over there. And it can, we think now about a mom or a dad, an older person, but what about children when they pass away? They're very young, or babies. I mean, this is even a bigger hole. I don't want to say, but you get my point. It's a deeper grief, maybe. So we learn, or we know how to support the grieving or the family. We support because you know by yourself the best what helps you. So we are there to keep the space. What you always say, holding the space. Yeah,
right.
Sabine, you always say that, holding the space and keeping the negativity away when somebody's saying you are in grief and oh no, it's over, it's a couple of weeks now, you can continue. No, you can't. I mean, it's your own space when you grieve. It's your own, everybody's grieving on a different way. And so yeah, we it's a very big topic. I mean, grief anyway. And for me, I think grief is very important because what I said, it's a topic nobody would like to talk about it. And grief is not only about that a person is passing over. Grief is also about a job loss or a divorce, or
It's a grief, yeah.
it's a grief, yeah. And or you have to, you bought your dream house or your dream car, and you lost your job or whatever, and you have to sell it again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also not, yeah, it's material world, but still for some people it's really
It's a form of grief.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I've seen many people in that situation, and even sometimes you grieve yourself.
Yeah.
When you have lost yourself, because
Yeah.
I'm working as a therapist most of the time with women who passed with very horrible situation,
Yeah.
mainly sex abuse, etc., or physical abuse. And in such a situation, I've seen many times that they were losing their identity. And then when they start the healing process, often they need to find them back. But this is exactly like a grief when you have lost someone, because you have lost yourself. And it's a part of you that disappeared somewhere that you have to grieve for. Yeah, that's, let's say the word, that's horrible. And the grief itself is still somehow a taboo subject that we don't speak about enough. In general, when we say the word grief, or someone died, or I lost this, that, whatever is the situation, most of the time people have the tendency to run away because they don't want to be confronted to the pain of others. And it's very courageous of you, I have to say that, because I know what it is, because I've lost all my family. Then yes, it's a very, very heavy things. It's demanding you to be very centered, focused, grounded, and have an immense power inside and a lot of love. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy. I mean, and when you come to me, we don't know each other, right? But sometimes I think that helps even more, because I don't know the past, what happened maybe with the person who died, or with the job or whatever, and I see it from a neutral perspective, and maybe that helps more than when you say, yeah, but look at that person, or look at your mom, or look, yeah, I don't. You were here, not your mom or somebody else, or your job or whatever. So and we are getting tools. We have tools in our little box which we can support you, or the grief person. And what you said in the beginning, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to be a doctor. And a doctor gives you then, I don't know, medicine, or when you're in depression or whatever. That's fine. That's all good. Don't worry. That's fine. I am here to support that, and to take your hand and say, okay, listen, are you angry? Okay, here's take your box shoes and just hit something very hard. And I'm here. I support you. If you feel that you're losing your mind, lose your mind, but I take you away. Then at the moment I think, okay, now you're really out of control or something, which is difficult. But you are safe. You are in a safe space, and you're not alone with your grief and your hate and your whatever is happening around you in your world. I mean, I think when you start being angry, there comes more. I think you know more about it, Sabine. Anyway.
Yes. Anger is a very destructive process. And I would like to talk, instead of anger now, we will come back to that later on, because I'm very interested about the childhood grief. I would like you to speak about this.
You mean childhood grief when someone passed away, or in general?
Any grief, because they have a grief that we had in the childhood that we never processed, has never been proceed, has been buried, and come back into the adult age in a different form. And then we wonder why we become totally crazy or totally psycho. But they have a sense behind, it has a meaning. But they have also the grief of your own childhood. I've seen that many times. I would consider, you correct me if I'm wrong, that they have two main one in the childhood. One is, I lost my mother, I was 6, or I lost my mother, I was 12, whatever is the age, is still childhood. And I never grieved properly. And I had to eat my emotion because everyone around was telling me that it's better do not show it. That's the programming we have in our society. I cannot be angry. I cannot punch a balloon or whatever. Then adult age, you have a man or a woman who is really unbearable in intimate relationship. I have cases like that. But you have also the child that you have lost. And you as an adult, you can say, oh, I never grieved my own childhood because trauma, divorce, whatever happened. Can you enter in that subject much deeper?
I think absolutely, that's absolutely right, especially when you're a child and they say you don't grieve or you can't be sad, whatever reason you have, and you forget about it. And because you're a child, right? And then the adults are saying, okay, it's not grief, don't worry, you come over it. And when you don't grieve, or when someone has passed away and you're at the funeral and your family is not taking you as a child with them to the funeral, I think that is also not good, because you are not having the possibility to have your own chance to work. What means death? What means funeral? What means that? You don't have any possibility to overcome it. So it's very important to deal with that in a young age. I'm very lucky that my family spoke about, or my parents spoke about death very openly. And my grandfather passed away at our home, so I could say goodbye to him. Even he was still laying there and warm and stuff. So for me as a child, it was I was a teenager at that, a young teenager. It was very important to understand that he's not breathing anymore. I mean, we see each other, we breathe, right? And when somebody is laying there and you want to breathe as well, but that doesn't happen. So that is I realized, okay, and it's not bad. That's it's nothing strange or something. So I'm very thankful and to my parents that we were spoke very open about it, and that helped me to be here now, I think, to speak very openly about it. But there are a lot of people who don't want to talk about it. And yes, you think as well as a child it's not good to speak about it. So I just forget about it. Yeah, and when you're an adult, then it comes back, and then death, grief, pain in your heart I put it away, but pain in your heart comes because of grief, or because your grandma passed away or something, and you were not allowed to speak about it. And then finding out when you're a young adult, maybe that's all right. But when you're 55, 60 years old, you can't remember that pain happened to you when you were a child. Mm-hmm. And then it's a long way to work and to come over it, maybe. But I think when you realize it and you think by yourself a bit back, then you're really like, okay, maybe that I have to work on myself, and we have to work anyway on ourselves. But
it's a journey,
yeah,
it's a journey, never end. Oh yes, we are here for that. It's a full journey.
Yeah. And I think, I'm not sure when we are passing over, then it's over. Then I don't think so. Then it will start. Then the whole. Anyway,
on a different level.
It's a different topic for next talk. Yeah. So I think it's a very a very interesting topic. Speak about grief and death.
I've noticed you said often the parents don't allow the child to go to the funeral. I can see from where they are coming from when they act this way, because they are afraid that the child will be traumatized first, and second, the energy there is very, very heavy because everyone is crying, and for the child even it can be heavier. But I want to say my brother and my sister were not children anymore. And I remember they had someone in the family says, okay, your sister, she can go. She was 18 when my mom died, but their father died 4 years before. And my brother was only 16. And someone in the family mentioned, it's better that he stay at home, blah, blah, blah. Don't take him. And I was like, no, both of them, they need to be with me no matter what. And today it's serving them. Oh yes, it's a difficult moment, but today it's serving them. Would you like to speak about this, about the belief system that people have in general to say to children or young adults, don't go, or you cannot come because it's not fine? I think it's also linked to a programming, right?
I think so. And I think when an adult says you are not allowed to come, or I don't want you to come, that is their own pain. They had pain with their own childhood, and they don't want to give that back to them. But I think it's maybe the wrong approach. Don't get me wrong. You want to have the best for your child or children. You don't want that anything harms them or gives them pain, but you can't project it back to them, your own pain. And a funeral or something bad to see is it's let's say a funeral or a dead person. It's our life. I mean, you're happy when a child is born, then everybody can't wait to see the newborn, but everybody doesn't want to see a dead body. And that's wrong. I mean, we are born, let's say, out of the blue. Yeah, I know why we are born and how that works, but you get my point. I mean, there's a soul in the body, and how does the soul comes there in? Yeah, I don't know. And then we pass over, and the soul also goes somewhere. So if we realizing that a bit, then we know that the pain who happens to us is, I just say something, is for a reason. Yeah, it's not everything is for a reason. Don't get me wrong. It's all horrible when somebody's passing away or passing over, but we have to, after a time, we have to work on it and think about it. And our life on planet goes further, and try not to take your child away from all that horrible stuff is happening in the world. They will find out anyway with all YouTube, TikToks, and whatever on this planet is these days.
Yeah.
They will find out anyway. So it's better to know it from you rather than from a horrible TikTok video, which is the nightmare. And they have a nightmare most probably, the children, and not telling you because they saw something on TikTok. You didn't allow them watch TikTok, and they can't tell you. So it's better to teach them, show them, each other, and not only the children, for all of us. Horrible things is happening on the planet, and we are here to support each other. I mean, we are all not born angry or evil or something. I think due to circumstances that comes out of the belly. I always want to show my belly. I think it's also growing in the belly and in the heart.
They have some culture. It's not a majority, because the majority of the culture, we have to be sad when someone is dying. But they have some culture on Africa, somewhere. I don't remember the country, but I've seen some documentary a long time ago. And for me, it was like, oh, okay, that's making sense. Because you were speaking about the soul, okay? And in those tribe, mainly when someone is dying, they celebrate the death. Of course, you are sad because you lose someone. It's your own sadness, but they celebrate the person who is passing. They celebrate the soul. I will find, it will be written on the description, I'm sure. I have to find this and I will add to the video description. I will tell you what is the country because it was really interesting how opposite it is to us. And for me, this is my personal opinion. The way we have been raised and programmed about the death is wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's about suffering only. And in those countries, they really celebrate the soul and they work in a way, they dance also, they pray for the person who just died. They celebrate the passage, let's say the bridges. They celebrate that because on the other side, that's what they say, you are reborn. This is why they celebrate like when a child is born. What would you like to say about that?
Yeah, very true. I just thought about that. I had a workshop last year in Germany, and that was about my last journey and what do you take with you on your last journey? And I think that's a very interesting question. You think, yeah, of course I bought my car, my family, whatever, but you can't, of course, take that with you. So what is important for you to take with you on this journey? And I think that comes then on that, what you said, the tribe, what they do, celebrating the death and the passing on the Rainbow Bridge. That is happiness, love. And I think it's all about love anyways. So if you, they say, somebody said you are dying the way you lived your life. So if you are a very happy person and always friendly and whatever, I'm pretty sure your passing is, I don't want to say easy peasy, but it's on a different level as when you're very angry, a very harsh person. I think then it's a bit a different passing than. And when your tribe is behind you, like a village is, we always say a village is supporting you. So we mean with the village, the family, the friends, the doctors, the people you love, can be also your colleagues or your pets actually as well. When they're supporting you and around you, it's easier for you to or for the person to pass over. And I'm pretty sure in that tribe, that is the way it is. They are very, I mean, when most probably in that, when a child is born, they already tell from the beginning, one day you will pass over. So they live with that. You have to leave again this planet. I think it's a different approach as would be grown up in Europe, or I don't know. I only can speak from
most
Europe.
part of the world, not only
Most probably, yes.
Many parts of the world we have that programming.
Yeah.
And we have been taught to believe that someone is dying. It's horrible. You must be sad. Yes, it's horrible for you, not
Yes.
for the person who is dying. That's also something very different. And I've noticed also most of the time, people don't have this comprehension because they have not been taught on that. And it's the same, I will speak about pet. As you know, for many of you, the one who don't know, I'm also an animal communicator. Hashtag, I have many hats.
A very good one, by the way. I know out of experience for my pets, not myself.
You followed the course also for telepathy.
Yes, I don't know. Yeah, how many courses I follow. Yeah. Very good.
What I wanted to say regarding a pet or horse or any animal, when the animal is dying, people are devastated. Exactly like when is your son, your daughter dying. Very, very often. And the first one was telling me that because he didn't really believe in this importance of an animal is as important than a human. It was my father. Well, he changed his beliefs since, but at that time he was always saying, but it's just a dog. It's just a cat. You will recover. No, it can take a very long time because it's your own sadness. Why it is so important? Because you need to address the grief, but what is grief finally? It's sadness, right? And many more, but can you speak about that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the grief comes, we all think because someone is passing away or passed away, someone died. But I think it can come also very early, just saying you leave school, for example, and you have to go into a job, into a study. What comes now? So you miss the school friends, the school daily life. is a little mini grief, but maybe you're not happy in your study, maybe you're not happy in your school, or you have to go to the military service. In some countries, you have to go after school or after when you're young to the military service. That is a complete different world. I mean, you grieve about, you don't like it, you don't want it. You grieve about your little childhood or school childhood or something, and there it can start. And then it maybe grows. So then somebody says, we come back to that topic, the adults are saying, oh, stay in the military business or industry or military tribe, or how do you call that? Good money, good job. Yeah, maybe you have to go to war, maybe not, but you earn good money. So you stay because everybody says, hey, that's good. I mean, in the US, it's different. I know it's a complete different mindset, but still maybe you don't like it. But your dad was a general, your mom was it, so you go. But you don't like it. So it's grief topping up. And you don't know that it's grief. You think, oh, I'm a bit sad. I'm a bit, I don't know, not happy. Yeah, but it will be over. No, it's topping up. And I think it's really grief you are feeling, but you are not, you don't know. And of course you don't say to anybody. And I always say, or I said in one of my podcasts, when you're losing your job and you're sitting at home, think about what you want to do as next. Maybe you want to become a yoga teacher. And then you say, out of the military service, you say, I'm a yoga teacher. Why not? If it makes you happy and you make other people happy with that as well, just do it. I mean, nobody is there to judge you. And if they judge you, then they have their own trauma and their own missed wishes and all that. So I think this is my...
But it's linked to a belief mainly, because if you look at me, you have a finance manager for almost 18 years who became regression therapist, multidimensional healer, animal communicator, and you name it. Then, even me, I was embedded into strong belief system that was saying, come on, Sabine, you have been a finance manager for years. You cannot let go of that. This is you. This is who you are. No, that's not who I am. And I can tell you today, but at that time, I was believing in that etiquette, that sticker that you put on your forehead. You are a finance manager. This is defining you.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm a mom. I'm a woman. I'm a crazy woman also. Because I'm an animal communicator today, you get the point? Completely different world. But it's mainly about belief, and that's the main things in the society today. And to come back to the grief also with the sadness, can you say why it is so important to address your sadness? Why? What are the consequences if we say, okay, I leave it on the side, I bury it, and I deny fully? Because we are, as humans, specialized into denial. I was one of them. Changed.
I think because you become sick, not now, but it takes maybe some time. There is a syndrome called breaking syndrome.
You can say in German, it's okay, we will find the translation.
So when your heart breaks, the syndrome, what is that? You know, you get broken heart syndrome. Yeah,
okay,
that's it.
We will get lost now in French, in English, and in German.
And it's, you feel when somebody is passing away, let's come back to that, or passed away, your heart is broken, you have a heavy heart. And it's true that you are grieving and your heart has a damage. So when you are not taking care of your heart and your feelings, then you get sick and you maybe die because of a heart attack or something. You can Google it. That's really correct what I'm saying. So and when you feel deep in yourself, maybe you are listening and you lost someone you absolutely loved and you feel the heart pain, and so it's important to work on it. The heart pain will not disappear, but you will learn to live with it. It will be a bit, your life will grow around that heart pain, and there you will find something which makes it a bit let's say the pain is there, but there are little roses or little chocolate or something is around it, which makes it not so heavy anymore. Just to talk like, or yeah, some nice yeah, it's you can get also depression. I mean, depression is also a sickness. We can all get into that. So it's easier said than done. I understand that, but there are people on the planet helping you, and I think even if you open up to somebody you are trusting, they will be there for you, I'm pretty sure.
You say, what are the negative impact if you don't address your grief?
I'm sure.
I've done it with my mother. This is why I want to speak about this, and then I will explain.
Okay.
Because I know the impact, but I would like you to explain to the audience. Because often I have to be strong, I cannot cry, and blah, and all again, those programming that lead us to a certain way where someone you love is dying and you don't allow yourself to grieve. What is the negative impact if you choose that way? Oh, you don't choose it because you don't know anything else. That's how you have been programmed, and you can't cry because crying, it's taking a lot of energy, but it's helping you to release. That's where people are often mistaken, the fact that crying is a release. But please, can you explain what are the negative impact if you don't allow yourself to grieve? Because for me, it's important to allow it, to allow the process. But first, how to allow and what are the negative impact? I have a lot of questions for you.
Well, I think the negative impact will be what I think is you will change. Your personality will change because you don't allow yourself to be happy anymore or to love anymore. Not that you think about it, you have it in your deep consciousness minds. You don't think, oh, I'm not allowed to love, but how to allow yourself to grieve or to do that. I mean, you have to be aware that you are grieving and that you have a mom, or what you said,
Acknowledging, right?
Acknowledging.
The right word. Acknowledging I'm sad.
Yes.
And acknowledging, yes, I'm suffering because that one or this one is dead.
Also, when you have...
And I don't want to accept also that one died. This is also a part of it, but acknowledge it, I think, right?
Acknowledge. And also, when you have a dad or a mom or a loved one passed away, and they were, let's say, not really friendly to you, say something. I mean, they were not hugging you every day, and you had a distance.
Can happen.
But you are still grieving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're still your mom, your dad, your grandma, whatever. And people are saying, they were not nice to you, so why are you grieving? I mean, this is also something, well, even though they were not friendly, but still they were there. Yeah, somehow, on whatever level. I allow myself to grieve as well, and even and be angry as well. Maybe you were never allowed to say you are not nice to me, and now you can do it. Now they are gone, kind of, and relieve in the emotions and speak to them. Go to the grave and just scream to them. Why not? I mean,
yeah, it's a form of release. You have to expose, to vent out. No matter which way you do it, no matter how you do it, you can scream, shout, whatever,
yeah, or even say I love you, even though you could never say that when sometimes it's, I think, when someone is passed away, then you realize how much you love them, while during their life maybe you said, nah, I can't love that person, but then you think, yeah, there were moments where we really loved each other, and I really miss that person now because when they are not there anymore, then you're realizing how important they were for you, even also on the negative side, I would say as well. So it's important to understand that you are grieving and that we are grieving, and to work on it.
Now let's come back to the negative consequences if you don't allow yourself to grieve. What could happen?
A lot. As I said, you change yourself, you will be aggressive, you will be angry or become angry. Maybe you have even suicidal thoughts because you don't realize what's happening with you and why are you grieving. And I think it's complete a negative impact.
Yeah. What would you say to a person, for example, who lost? Let's take my example. When I lost my mother, it's a long time ago now, but I was still very young. And my sister was only 18, my brother was 16. And like I mentioned, they were already, it was also an accident, and my mom died from a heart attack. Then we didn't have time to prepare. But, I had ideas. And I remember that. Well, I was a real mess, to be honest. It's not the person you see today. But at that moment, I had to deal with many, many things. The court, because they have no father, and I was becoming the official tutor, but I could not be alone. I had to choose a family member, but I could not choose. They had many, many fight also in the family because I want to take the tutor, I want to be this. Let's pass the detail. This was putting me on the high level of stress, which I had also to deal with the insurance because we had to pay for the funeral and make the insurance and all that stuff. The lawyer also for the two who was staying there, not only going to the court and make things official to protect them and that they have a pseudo mom and father, which was me and my auntie at that time, but all the uncle were fighting. No, it's me who needs to be there, which is happening very often when someone is dying, by the way. Then at that time, I'm giving you that example because it's really relevant in the conversation we have. I didn't allow myself to grieve. I was working. I was a single mom. I still had my daughter who could not even cope with the loss of her grandmother. And she started to scarify herself at that period of time because my mother was the funny, crazy grandmother for her. And what I don't allow, my mother was allowing when she was going on holidays. Anyway, they were already like that. You get the point?
Yeah.
Then I had to deal with my sister, my brother, my daughter, my job, the court, the lawyers, the insurance was a lot. And at that moment, the best survival mode, but I was not trained like I'm today. I didn't heal. I was still a real mess. Today, I can say I'm healed and a situation like this would happen. I don't suggest to anyone to do the way I've done, but it was my survival mode at that time. I decided to be strong. Done. I need to be there for my daughter, my brother, my sister, and my job. I cannot lose my job now. I cannot afford that. And as a finance manager, I was with a high level of responsibility, traveling and everything to deal with that no grief doesn't exist anymore. I'm strong and I go like a Formula One. That was the wrong recipe. And you can confirm that was the worst recipe you can do, like when you cook, because I was cooking ready, but I didn't realize at that time because nobody told me. You don't know how to grieve, by the way. Nobody is telling you. And I would like that you also emphasize on that because nobody teach you. It's not like when you go at school to learn something. It's not what you learn with your friends, how to deal with feelings, liking a friend, etc., or to socialize in the society. Nobody is telling you, okay, you have to grieve that way or that way, which I think it's so taboo, and that is why nobody taught me. Then I found a stupid way because that was the wrong recipe. Don't do that, please. Which lead me for going on and on and on for approximately 6 to 8 months, like that, where I was on a high constantly. Then I went into depression, of course, and I ended up into psychiatry because I didn't grieve. I was becoming a total mess. And then I fall, but not falling like this. I fall like you take a big slap and you're like, oh shit, now I'm at the rock bottom. And what do? I don't have the recipe. I try to cook for many months to help others, not thinking about me. And then I'm the one who is falling, but I'm falling so hardly, like hit by a train somehow, that it's even worse. And even doctors cannot tell you how to deal with that. They're not trained for that. Psychiatric is a different thing because I was in depression, but can you emphasize on that? Because they have no school to tell you how to grieve. And I think that would be, I'm going to extreme, but I think for people who have passed through extreme situation like I had, honestly, it was extreme, we need someone to explain to us, to teach us. What do you suggest for that?
That's exactly.
Create a school, maybe.
Yeah.
Why not? No, I'm laughing, but somehow I'm serious. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, the training what I did is people, or it's very common in Germany. They go to schools and speak in front of classes about the grief, or when somebody's passed away. They go, let's say, also to police departments, because they tell them what's going on, what does that mean, and that it's what they feel. Even you are a policeman and you see you have to go to somebody passed away in a car or whatever, had an accident, and you have to tell that the other people, to have to ding dong at the door to tell that the parents or the husband or whatever. This emotion, what comes to this person in that moment, this is horrible. And who can deal with that? I mean, nobody knows.
Nobody's trained.
Nobody's trained for that.
Yes.
And what we as a, also there are so many other, not that's the doula or what I am. There are so many other grieving people who have this training. We get tools in our hand to support you with that and with the grief. And everybody's grieving on a different way. Some people are not grieving, they're not crying or something, which is also fine, but you have to address it. And when somebody's passing away or passed away, somebody are crying and grieving. Some people need a couple of years to grieve, but don't forget about it. So we have to keep an eye on it and to say, okay, you are in grief. What do you need now? What do you need in this moment? And very important is to, for example, when somebody is in a deep grief, like in a trauma or in a shock, to keep them warm, to keep the feet warm, the hands warm, a warm drink, tea or something, because they're in a shock. So supporting them, be there. And then everybody is individual. So I can't give a receipt. Okay, you just keep them warm. Maybe you are in Dubai like we are now in the summer. You keep someone warm, it kicks you. You know, it's too hot. You get my point. But keep them stable. Put a blanket over them. And but when it's a bit further in the grief, in the loss, then we have in the grief, we call it waves. So you have that you are not you don't accept that they are dead. Then you have saying it's my fault because I did something or I didn't do something. Then you go, what an idiot, they just left me alone. And that comes back and forth. So after a while you think, I'm over it. But then you hear a song or you smell,
smell,
and then you are back to that. And what we
or a singer like singing a sound,
you hear their voice in your head. I mean, what we also learn in our training, our course, is that when somebody passed away, they try to get in contact with us. So that is also very interesting. So when you think about it, I mean, you don't see them standing in the door and, hello, here I am. Maybe you have that possibility, then it's great. But mainly
that's not the case for everyone.
No, that's not the case, yes. But maybe you hear, you turn on the radio and you hear their song, or you smell their perfume. Out of the blue, there's nothing, but you smell them. Or feathers is also very famous when you see something, or their flowers they loved, or something, you get my point. And I think when you're realizing that and you have that every now and then, that gives you also kind of a blanket and saying, okay, I'm not alone. They're here telling me I'm good, or they are good. I'm good as well. We can continue. I really believe in that. And when you look around you, I'm pretty sure you had that also, maybe you cut it out, you think I'm crazy and it can't be, I'm in the desert and I smell a perfume, it can't be.
It's
Think about
happening
it.
very, very often. I'm in the field also, and because we worked together before, because somehow she has been one of my students in, let's say, the word in telepathy course.
Yeah.
Then yes, she has this ability. Like I said, it's not for everyone, in a way that when someone is dying and you have this ability, either yes, you can sense, you can even see, you can feel, but it depends. Like she mentioned, everyone is different in the grief itself, and some people will close off completely and nothing will happen. Then it's not again a recipe that everyone can put in place or say, oh my God, yes. It's reassuring when it's happening. I've noticed that many people who are mentioning this situation, it's really reassuring, like you can still feel the energy of the person in your field. Okay, Melanie, I would like, if you have a wish or if you have a last word before we end this podcast, what would you like to say to the audience? Or what would you like to teach them? I know they have no recipe. It's very individual. And what you do is mainly custom made, let's say this way, because what you are saying now, I'm sure, can maybe apply to 1, 2, 3 people. But then you will have 10, and for the 7 remaining, it will be a different approach, because we are all unique. What would you like to say to the audience?
Grieving, or you are in grief, keep in mind that you don't have to grieve only because someone passed away. Your grief is maybe because you lost your job or you are in a divorce. And living here in Dubai, we are expats. Keep in mind that also a grief is you have your family back home, or you are in a divorce and they're returning back home and you're here alone. That is also a grief, and a very common grief for us as expats. At home, they will not understand this grief. But here we are in Dubai, we will understand that you're grieving about being an expat. We love our country here. That is not the point. It is about losing our or missing our loved ones back home. Maybe your mom, your family is sick at home and you can't be there all the time and you have a grief about it. Sickness is also grieving. Realize it, and you don't have to go through that alone. There are people supporting you. Go to friends. We are here. You don't have to deal alone with that.
Last question before we really end. What would you like to say to people? Because just what you mentioned here, but some are like, I have to be strong. No, I'm a man. I cannot cry. I'm a man. I have to be like, What would you like to say for that type of situation? Because some people have been also educated in a way, especially for men. I've noticed that very, very often. They don't go to seek for help for their friends or their family members who see. Let's take the example of a man, because that's the most typical part of it. Women can cry easily, but men, they still have this strong belief, I can't cry. I'm not allowed to cry because I'm a man, and all that BS programming. Let's say I'm the sister and my brother is in this situation and he doesn't want to speak because he has been educated this way. This is an example, of course. What would you suggest to me?
That is a good question, because if he is not ready to grieve or to speak about his feelings, then you as a sister, or it's difficult to reach him. The thing is, you know him better. Maybe you can. I have my own podcast as well, Beyond Grief. Tell him that
Detail will be written
details,
in the description of the video.
Or this video, or some other grieving videos, or if he says, I'm not grieving, you know better to come from the back and, to support him, or tell especially the man, not on a direct way, on a hidden way, that listen to it or look at it, or there are books, there are podcasts, there's everything, but keep on going. I think, what is the English saying? There's a stone, every water drop makes a hole in the stone. You know what I want to say?
This is a German stuff, which I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so keep
We
going.
need to find a middle way to the translation, because this I don't know.
A different word.
Yeah, I don't know, sorry. I would say one step at a time.
Yeah, I just also want to say baby steps are also steps in the right direction. So keep going and keep telling him, and there will be a little light that he says, okay, I will listen to it. That is the only advice I can give. Otherwise, if he's not open to it, it will be hard stuff.
I think holding the space in many situations like this one would be the best.
Yeah.
Another thing, we have to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Since I'm like, we have to end, but I have another question. What would you say, and this is happening quite often, someone die and the person start to drink and go extreme into most of the things that they were not doing before?
Yeah, that is obvious, the reason why they are drinking. And then I would really ask for professional help, because drinking is...
It's a coping mechanism, no?
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, death doula, I can try to support or to help, but it depends on which stage it is that he really needs professional help. If he is not willing to do that, it's again, keep going, keep saying it. The danger part is when he's in grief, or this person is in grief and is drinking, he wants to be maybe also on the other side to the other person. And there is a danger that they are suicidal or will become suicidal. Mm-hmm. So this is again very dangerous. So professional help is needed here. I'm not sure if you can just call a doctor without telling that person. That's not fair as well. Then they will block you also. Very sensitive thing, but very common, unfortunately. Again, what we discussed in the beginning, we are not trained or learned how to grieve, what to do with emotions.
This is why people find a coping mechanism. Yeah, it can be alcohol, some can be sex. Yeah, because it's a trauma.
You don't know what is happening to you, so you use it and you want to forget your thoughts. I mean, our brain is not stopping of thinking. It's thinking always. There's no stop button to say, unless you know meditation very well, but in that stage you are not even thinking.
Who will meditate when you are in grief? Sorry, I'm laughing, but I had to grieve many times because, like I said, many are dead in my family, and in a very short time, by the way. Then I didn't even have a long break between to be able to recover from one. You get the point? But I want to say at that time, yes, it's right. For many people, you don't even understand what is happening to your mind, to your body, to your emotion. You are all over the place. That's the best word to describe
absolutely.
When you lose someone. And you lose yourself, same feeling. You lose your job, for some people, same feeling. Sometimes I hear people saying, oh, it's just a job. You will find another one with just a dog, just a cat, just a horse. No, everyone has a certain sensitivity, and it depends on which level you are. This is really, like I said, she is a custom made somehow. And I think it's the best approach. It's difficult to give. And I know many people who are watching us now are probably thinking, oh my God, I need a recipe like we do an apple pie, how we can do 1, 2, 3. No, not in grief. I have the same question in terms of therapy, like how many sessions do I need because I have this, and that. But we don't know what is the root. And it's the same, I think, in terms of grief. We don't know how many roots are hidden behind the big roots. And you need to address the first one, and then it's like you open a Pandora box, you discover more roots under the first, and then you go deeper and you have others again. then yes, I would love to tell you, and I think you would love to say the same for people who are watching now. Yes, we have a cooking recipe. You do 1, 2, 3. No. Best way is open yourself and allow, I would say, acknowledge, allow yourself to feel like a shit. Simple as
Absolutely.
it. Melanie, thank you. Where can we find you? Do you have social media, website?
Yeah, my website is melaniehörig.com.
Slowly.
Melanie Hörig, and I'm on social media. I have also a podcast which is called Beyond Grief.
Beyond Belief,
Beyond Grief, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
a German
okay.
podcast as well, which we link down. And I'm of course of Instagram, melh_x or Tod, Trauer, Sterben. It's in German. We write it all down, but it's in German.
Don't ask me to translate.
No,
I can't.
we mention it down. And yeah, you can visit me on my homepage, melaniehörig.com.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Sabine.
Thank you, Melanie, for coming. And before you leave, please subscribe to my channel. This means the world to me, and it costs nothing for you. It's just a gift you give to myself as an appreciation, and a gift also you give to my guests who are coming in this podcast. If you want us to speak about a specific subject, please don't hesitate to write me a message to request exactly what you would like to see on this channel. Much love. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.